Wow.
Welcome, welcome, my beautiful people. It's a pleasure to be back again. Sister Zola and I are once again here, and I invite you all to share the live. My dear sister, welcome back. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Thank you very, very much to be back on your program. I'm doing okay.
Great, great, great. Well, we have some things to unfold to talk about. We only have an hour to do so. Time indeed flies fast. Time indeed flies fast, and we have saw the tension that went down in Caricom Summit. There was a bit of tension. I think we all could agree on that. I don't think that Caricom what we saw happen, it shows that CARICOM is not fully united. We heard about, well, you know, we did take a listen to Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar's speech, and it was controversial indeed. It was the talk of the tongue. Everyone is talking about that, and a couple other things. We now seeing the war that is taking place between America, Israel, and Iran, and we're going to talk about that, how this will affect our Caribbean region, because it will be. Iran has closed off the Hamas Strait, yeah, and one, and I'm getting news that there's some Chevron or Exxon Mobil over there that was attacked, that was destroyed. So this is serious times that we are in, and we can see, an inflation in a lot of economy of nations. The government of Grenada has just released a statement. They have, expressed concern about the implications that this war will have on our region. But coming back to the CARICOM Summit, let's talk about that. I think in order for us to get a broad perspective of things, let's take a listen, just a short clip to, I think it's important for us to listen to PM Kamala Persad-Bissessar's speech, and then we're going to give our views on that. So let's take a listen.
Okay.
Their political parties who actively involve themselves in the domestic and political affairs of member states to assist sister or brother parties cannot then expect that when we come together that we must hug up each other. When in the last election one you sent your missives, you sent your people from your party to openly campaign against another political party. I'm sorry I have to share this, but it hurt me a lot when I saw what transpired within the last set of elections in the CARICOM. So CARICOM governments, if we are to hug up each other and cooperate, it cannot be that last week you sent your person down to St. Vincent or to Jamaica or to wherever, to Guyana. You sent your political persons, not technocrats. You sent them down to campaign. I don't think that is right, because today I will have to face you. We are not red and we are not yellow, we are not blue, we are not green. We are all CARICOM persons, and we must give that respect to every single one. And no leader here sitting would want another CARICOM head of state to send people to campaign in your domain. That should never happen. We respect the sovereign right of CARICOM members with respect to your choice for national security for your nation and respect to your choice for foreign policy. We respect that sovereignty, and we expect no less from others. We took very careful note of what happened in the CARICOM in 2025 when my government chose to lend support then to the Nicolas Maduro regime, and despite repeated threats against two fellow CARICOM members from Venezuela, most of the CARICOM stood against the two. Only two were threatened. One was Guyana, still under threat. I openly said that if they touch Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago will be there with you and stand with you. And the other was Trinidad and Tobago. We are threatened, and we are still threatened by Venezuela. I'll say a little more about that in a moment. So how could the CARICOM be a zone of peace when a narco dictator who imprisoned and killed thousands of civilians and opposition members, You will see recently over 300 persons from the opposition in Venezuela have been released. They were in prison because of politics. So how can it be when that regime was threatening violence to 2 Caricom member states, there was no voice from the Caricom? We were talking about a zone of peace. And in my respectful view, my country is not a zone of peace, and I'll tell you why. Because of the unreliability of the Caricom in the above situation, TNT Guyana, we cannot bind ourselves to the same political ideologies, the same foreign issues, and the same security policies of the entire Caricom. That's why I welcome Prime Minister Alder's words, that we have each our own pathway to walk, depending on what is happening in our country. And so, my friends, I say, going forward, we will work with the Caricom. We were invested in the Caricom. We've been there from day one, and we want to be there after the end and the beginning and in the end. We want to be there with the Caricom. It's very vital. And so I come to the elephant that might be in the room. I come to the USA and the cooperation that we had with the USA. Thanks to President Trump, thanks to Secretary Rubio and the US military. I say thank you today for standing firm against narco trafficking, human and arms smuggling originated from Venezuela. That is what we were facing in Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe some of you other islands in the Caribbean, your nations do not have that level of illegal migration and, of course, the crime. So in 2024, crime was being treated as a public health gimmick. It was dubbed a public health issue. It's not a public health issue. Because of the crime, you're not alive to get any public health. You're dead. That's what the crime is like. So don't talk to me about a zone of peace when I will tell you, Trinidad and Tobago, 1.4 million people. We recorded 623 murders in 1 year, in 2024. And 40% of those murders, they were gang-related, driven by narcotics, by firearms smuggled in from Venezuela, and gangs coming out of Venezuela and mingling and mixing with gangs in Trinidad.
So yes, this was Kamala Persad-Bissessar's speech, and you know, there's a lot of things she mentioned. I took a note of it. She talked about political interference. You know, she did criticize CARICOM member states of interfering with each other's election. She talked about the zone of peace, which I don't think Kamala quite understand the meaning of zone of peace, but we're going to talk about that. And she did talk about threats, Venezuelan threats against Guyana and Trinidad. So my dear sister, where shall we start? Political interference.
This lady is something else, because she is, to me, in my opinion, she is speaking about everything else except the governance of her country. She is commander-in-chief. So these things should not be happening. So what has she been doing that she has all these issues?
Yeah.
That means that she wasn't governing the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you are a leader, then you have to govern your country. North, south, east, and west, all of it is under. That's why most of these leaders have the portfolio of security.
Yeah.
But you have to learn how to govern. You can't blame other people for things that are going on in your country. You notice that she never say anything. She says the guns. But these same guns are coming from the United States.
And Marco Rubio did acknowledge that. He did acknowledge that, yes, the guns are coming from the United States.
But he didn't say what is he going to do about that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because we are not, you know, this gun thing, of course, this gun thing comes with crime.
Yeah.
You know, and I see how it is done. First, a whole set of foreign people enter into these CARICOM islands, and then all of a sudden, they need to have a place to practice to shoot.
Yeah.
Something that we are not, we are not comfortable with these kind of things. You need to practice to shoot. So we have to make a place now. And that means you come to my country about guns. If you need a place to practice to shoot, then you should have stayed home where you come from.
True.
Because we don't want to encourage people of having guns. If people are going to have guns, then why do you have a police force? The police is there to protect us.
Yeah.
That's why I give a lot of respect to the police, because they are the ones that are paid to protect us. So why we need to have a gun? For what reason? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
And
why when it gets to
I do
guns,
understand. I understand that she wants to put Trinidad interest first. I mean, every leader will want to put their country interest first. Okay, but CARICOM platform should not be used and was never established for any leader to promote their country's interests. CARICOM platform
she's
was
vindictive because she
CARICOM,
pointing at Barbados.
yeah, exactly right.
But
She
if,
put,
if
yeah,
something like that happened, so how come you did not address that issue? You keep it. That shows you she's vindictive. You keep
yeah.
it until you get on a public platform to ball out another country.
Exactly. It's like she's blaming her colleagues. And as I said, CARICOM platform was established for a collective interest. Your country's interest cannot be much more important than a collective interest, which is Caribbean interest. That is what CARICOM is for. CARICOM is about Caribbean interests. And um it is quite, how should I say, baffling, or I am a bit bizarre when she said that she's blaming other CARICOM leaders for interfering with each other's um political or general elections, right? There was interference in a lot of Caribbean political general elections, all right, and all signs was pointing to external interference. I personally believe, in my opinion, the United States had a lot to do with political interference in the Caribbean. We saw the change of a lot of Caribbean leaders. I mean, people got fed
Because you
up.
know what?
People got fed up.
They
Yeah.
study, these people, they study you.
Mhm.
So they know who they can interfere with.
And Kamala Persad-Bissessar, she knows that. She knows very well. But you see how she's how I would say where the hypocrisy comes in. She's blaming CARICOM for political interference when she should be blaming the US for political interference. You know,
Yeah, but can you imagine that? Can you
it,
imagine
it's
where her
baffling.
head is? Where is her head at? Are the people blind to not see what the United States government is doing around the world
Exactly.
together with their partner in crime? Huh? Can everybody see what is going on? You can't fool people anymore. This is, all this rambling chat is all outdated. She didn't say anything about CARICOM, just blaming people, and this political rhetoric.
But I am yet, I think the CARICOM summit was nothing extraordinary to me. It was the speeches and the eloquent, you know, gestures as usual, because CARICOM, I listened to all the leaders who spoke. They gave an impression they will pledge humanitarian support to Haiti. Okay? They did not indicate what type of humanitarian support that they will pledge to Haiti. We all for now we are just seeing, we are just, you know, all that we are hearing is words. No one so far has make a move when it comes to action in sending, in whichever way we can, supplies to the people of not Haiti but Cuba. Sorry, not to the people of Cuba, right? Drew spoke. Drew gave out a wonderful speech, but it's like words. It's words as usual. There are no budget. There is no budget plan. There is no delivery mechanism. How they will do that? Nothing like that. So it's like Caricom is just a platform being used to promote American interest in the Caribbean.
But think about it. All these Caricom leaders under one roof, with a man that a week before he came there is telling that he wants Europe to help him recolonize the Caribbean, bring it back into slavery, where we, the people of the Caribbean, have nothing to say. So how could you be in the same room, under the same energy, under the same vibration as a man that utters such words out of his mouth? I can't imagine how all of those leaders felt with this man, and they cannot say anything. Because anything they say, they know it will be used against them, their country, and their people.
Exactly.
So imagine the situation that our leaders in the Caribbean is under. This is something that is extremely serious. Because they are planning. And the thing about it is they want our brothers and sisters, Caribbean leaders, to join them to recolonize us.
Yeah.
You feel me, bro? This is incredible. I think this is very serious as far as I'm concerned. You know, this is really, really a serious thing.
Very, very. I mean, it is.
That's why we have to focus on providing for ourselves.
Yeah.
Do not depend on no government to feed you. Learn to feed yourself. Learn to educate your children. Spend time with your children. Pass on knowledge and information to your child.
And someone here is asking, why were our leaders so frightened to speak up in front of the bloodless lot?
Because they know what will happen to them and the entire Caribbean. These are monsters we are dealing with. Monsters. Look, they just went today, was it today or yesterday, into another man's country bigger than the Caribbean and killed the man and all his ministers. Huh? So you know what you're playing with now. They can do the same to us within 10 minutes.
Exactly. Well, he bragged. You saw the video when Trump bragged and he laughed about destroying the Caribbean fishing industry. What
kind of leader would do something like that?
I can't. Ah, boy, it's like.
And you imagine now that our leaders in the Caricom Summit has to be in the same room with people who think like this.
Shaking hands with them.
Yes, and hugging them up and all kinds of things like this. And you think, hey, bro, I would never shake your hand. Because my ancestors speak right through my mouth.
Somebody's saying these people are psychopaths.
Mongrels.
Oh boy. You know, I had to release a video of this today, but I didn't get a chance to do so. But even the Grenadian fishermen right now, they are afraid to go outside. They are voicing their concern to the government that they are afraid that they will be blown up. But it's like a waste of time, because what the government don't even say anything. They're not even speaking up. You know.
Well, they have to use their common sense. Don't go too far.
Hmm.
You feel me? But this all of this is designed to destroy our economy.
Yep.
So we're on our knees. So we have to beg them for food and beg them for this and that. You know what I mean? And then they will put in their piece too, what they want out of us. This is a
Yep.
serious thing.
Hmm.
That's why it's important. Doesn't matter how much land you have, even if you have a spoonful, start growing things that you need.
Yeah. Obviously, we do have to start growing things, because the war in Iran is getting worse. We don't know how long this will last. This can go on for weeks. This can go on for possibly months. And we can see, as I said, the government, I think Barbados did release a statement as well. Grenada released a statement. The governments of the Caribbean are becoming worried
Of course.
of an inflation like no other, an unprecedented inflation that can grapple the Caribbean, and it is us that will get the brunt of it. It is
That's
us.
why it's very important that we plant our food. You know, we understand about our food. That's the most important thing. And I heard somewhere on the news or something, people talk about Ethiopia, or I think the government are going to Ethiopia or connected with Ethiopia. Well, if they are going to Ethiopia or connected with Ethiopia,
Yep.
there's a corn called Guinea corn or Shogun.
Hmm.
That is the best thing we should invest in right now, planting this corn. The Caribbean used to plant this corn before and they stopped. I don't know for what reason. This is the most healthiest corn you could ever eat.
Hmm.
And especially for growing children. Healthy, healthy. All Ethiopians eat this and they don't get sick. I had it
Somebody,
when I was a child as well.
somebody's asking.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. Somebody's asking. Sorry about that. Why wasn't those 140 plus who died without due process? None of our so-called leaders said nothing. This is complacency. You know.
But exactly, they cannot say anything because of the presence of this little demon. He is in the middle of the conference. You can't say nothing because if you ever open your mouth, some sanctions will go on you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That is the whole thing. And those leaders are intelligent enough to know that if they ever open their mouth, that's the end of their country. They know it. That's the reality what we're living in today.
I mean, this is I mean serious time. Let me just get now. Somebody's saying those who don't have land get sack and put in your porch. Yeah, I mean
Exactly.
you don't really need a plot of land to plant. You can. I mean, things are so
Get some
modernized these
old
days.
tires. Get some old tires,
Yeah, yeah,
put around your house.
yeah.
Start
Mhm.
growing.
I was
Start being independent and
exactly.
stop this dependency. Because like the leader of St. Kitts said, ain't nobody come here to help us. So that had a strong meaning, but people didn't, I think, catch it.
Yeah.
He's telling you that the same Marco Rubio ain't coming there to help them either.
No one is coming to
That's
help
what
us.
he's
No
really
one.
saying.
No one is coming to help us, and I I appreciate the person who bring up that. Some people saying, well, what if we don't have land? You can put bucket, you can get soil, man. Fertilize that. What. and put it in
Exactly.
buckets, and you can grow a lot of stuff. Even in your
And now
inside of
it's
your house,
orange
you can grow a lot of
season.
stuff. You
It's
know.
orange season that's just going
Yeah.
on now in Grenada, and there's plenty of orange trees around that you can just go and pick them.
Yeah. Exactly.
You can just go and pick them and start creating. Open that creativity inside of you. Start creating. Make marmalade, make orange jam, make orange juice, sell it at the side of the street. Do something.
Now let us ask the hard question. Do you think Kamala is a traitor to the Caribbean, and should she be expelled from Caricom? I
Y-
I know
in
I
my
am sorry
opinion,
to
I
to,
would
to
just leave her in the hands of God,
yeah.
because I know God will make her disappear. Trust me, she is not able to lead, and she must understand that.
Yeah.
She's not, I don't think, maybe she's a really nice person, but this leading of people and country and this and that, I don't think that she's able to manage this.
Mm.
So she's like using all kinds of excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe back in the day she was a different type of person, but
Mm.
you cannot just give up your country and blame every Caricom that is creating uh divide, but there's a word for that. But she's creating that, as
Well,
if
have you
Trinidad is
seen?
separate to the Caribbean. Trinidadian people are very lovely people,
Yeah.
very, very nice people.
Mhm.
So you can't judge the Trinidadian people by their leader, this present leader. No, no. Trinis are really, really nice people. One of the Caricom Islands that have many nationalities.
Yeah.
You know, the island that started when they forbid the Africans of playing the drums, and they
Mhm.
started the steel drum. It has culture. It has history. So you can't, because of this lady, we can't just look down on Trinidadians.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
We have to embrace
we
them and
should make it clear
help
that
them to see the truth.
exactly, Trinidadians are not, the majority of Trinidadians. Only those who are blindly following her are her supporters. But the majority of population, and it is important to know that she have become, not getting, but she have become unpopular. She have become unpopular, and Kamala Persad-Bissessar knows very well she will not go back there. But the question is, will her governance last until 2031, 2029? Only God
Well,
knows.
that's up to the Trinidadian people.
That's
That's
up to
not up
Trin.
to us. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
up to the Trinidadian people, have to decide about their future. If with her, you understand? But
Yeah.
that's not up to us. You
True,
feel me? They
true.
have to decide that by themselves. We will not be able to influence that. They are the ones who live under her guidance. So therefore, they have to decide. Just like we have to decide. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Very well, very well. Now let's talk about she talked about the zone of peace. In your understanding, my dear sister, what does the zone of peace means to you?
We are peaceful people for what we have been through for 400 years
Mm-hmm.
and how we are now. We are a peaceful people. Whatever would be disturbing us comes from foreign. It is not us.
Exactly.
You understand? We don't have skyscrapers and this kind of thing that blocks the energy from moving from one side of the island to the other. That creates a peace.
Mm.
We still have our trees and flowers and fauna, and so we do not have concrete in front of us. So we always will have that sense of peace around us.
Because
We say good morning to each other. You know
I
what I mean? We are very special people.
when I
We
do
are not
when
third world people,
yeah.
like they say.
Hmm.
We are extremely special. Can you imagine that we live in paradise? So any person who wants to disturb that paradise, you know, then we have to address that.
Yeah.
It's our islands. They belong to us. They don't belong to a prime minister. They belong to us, the people. So we have to claim every inch of these islands.
Mm.
You know, politicians come and politicians go. That's a job. Huh?
Mm.
A prime minister have a job for 4 years, a 4-year contract. That's it. But we are always there.
Mm.
So all of this belong to us. So we're gonna have to start taking care of what belong to us. Huh? Cut this foreign foolishness out. All these imported foods and all this filth that we're putting down our throats and giving to our children.
Yeah.
We are a zone of peace. We are peaceful people.
We are not at war with anyone, and that is what
No,
I want to. I want to, because to my understanding, when I did a research on the zone of peace, the zone of peace has to do with, like, say, Grenada. Grenada is not at war with Saint Vincent. Saint Vincent is not at war. It's countries at war with each other. Okay, your country can be a zone of peace even if you have domestic problems like crimes. Okay, Trinidad. She said Trinidad is not a zone of peace, but Trinidad is a zone of peace, even if the crime rate is a little bit high. Well, not a little bit, but it's high. You know, Trinidad is not at war with any other country. Trinidad is a zone of peace. All right? I think she do not understand what the zone of peace means, and she's using that to say now that to me, in my understanding, to give an excuse why we should allow the US to intervene in our region affairs because we are not a zone of peace. So the
she
United
wants
States,
the U.S.
the
to
United
help
States should be
her.
here. They have rights to be here. They have rights to do what they want in our region because the Caribbean is not a zone of peace. But the Caribbean islands are not in
It's
war with
because she
anyone. We are
cannot
not at war with
govern.
each other.
She
Trinidad is not
cannot
at war with
govern.
anyone. Trinidad is, although Trinidad crime rate is high, Trinidad still is a zone of peace because Trinidad is not a country that is known to be at war with anyone. You know.
It's this. She don't have no peace within her. You understand? If I have a fight with my neighbor, the next morning, me and the neighbor agree back. That means the people are peaceful.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? People looking for peace. So for her to just openly say that the Caribbean is not a zone of peace, it's that she cannot govern her own people. Huh? Because when she knew or understood that there were arms and drugs entering into her country, then she should have done something about it.
Yeah.
But she did nothing. That's why it escalates and escalates, and then it's out of control. And I don't understand also Caribbean leaders. If you don't want guns in your country, then implement a law. Any person with a gun is life. You would see it would soon stop.
Yeah.
You want to bring drugs in my country, hard drugs? Life. Singapore did it and it stopped, I guess, within a month.
You know,
You feel me?
she did come down on the Caricom leaders as well that they are supporting a dictatorship government. But it was the same. I mean, I don't want, we have to talk about it. I'm trying not to stay long on this, but it was the same PM Kamala Persad-Bissessar when she was in opposition. She supported the lifting of embargo over the Cuban people, the Cuban administration there. She supported that when she was in opposition. Now she is saying that Caribbean leaders are supporting a dictatorship government. It's really, it's hypocrisy to its highest level.
But I this is something I don't understand. You know, why is all of a sudden now Cuba is a dictatorship country?
Talk to me. Talk to me. Huh.
Why all of a sudden all these filthy names are being thrown at Cuba? Any person that is going into Cuba now and think that they can take over Cuba, they will have to deal with the Cuban people.
Yep.
They would have to deal with educated people. That will not go down very well for them. You understand? Because the Cubans are not going to let you take their country over.
Yeah.
They know every trick in the book too. They have a playbook too. You understand? You can't just, the way how the world is going, as Maya Motley said, that they are changing this world order to a new world order.
Yeah.
But is this a world order? Or it's just some gangsters just taking over your country, killing your leader, carrying on as they like with you? What kind of world order is this? Then we should have to step out of this world order.
Yeah.
But you see, that's where they got us hooked. That's why you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. You cannot put everything into tourism. You have to be able to look for yourself as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Your country need to produce a lot of food for your people, because if Iran keeps that straight close, not a container can come this side.
Mm.
That's
That
for
is-
Europe too. Huh?
Mhm.
So this is the kind of world we are living in. Our leaders are seriously not, yes, afraid, I would say, because they understand one funny word from them, one serious question from them, and their country gone. We can speak whatever we want to speak, but
Yeah.
they have a responsibility. We don't,
Hmm.
but they do. You understand? So that's why at first when I heard that, why didn't they ask Marco Rubio about the killing of innocent fishermen? But then after I start to understand it,
Yeah.
how it happens, that if they would say one word to him, that's enough for him to go back and tell Trump,
True.
sanction that island. They are no good. You know what I mean?
And as we seen that happening, because Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica this week, the U.S. Embassy has slashed the 10-year visa entry privilege to just 3 months. 3 months only. So Antigua and Barbudans and Dominicans can only get 3 months visa
I
stay
don't
in
understand
America.
why they want the visa in the first place. If a
Absolutely.
person keeps telling you they don't want you, they don't want no black people in their country, why you keep going after about a visa?
Hmm.
Let him keep his visa. His country is not important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Were you selling your soul for a visa? Just to go where?
To go where?
Yeah,
To
to
go
go
where?
where?
It's not like before. America is like it's not like before. People are.
To be treated as some kind of second
I
class
have a
citizen?
lot of friends and family members in America right now. Even in
Mm-hmm.
the UK, England, they are looking to come back. They are looking to come back. A lot of them are saying, "Boy, life is miserable. Right? Things have changed drastically.
They're
And
right. And a
the
lot of
advan-
people in England are not working.
exactly. If
There's
you
no
have to
work.
go, go visit and come back. Don't stay. Don't stay. You know. So it's really it's getting, visa. I don't see it in. I would personally will not spend all this money because it's a lot of money to even travel to Barbados to the embassy to apply for a visa, and just for 3 months. Hell no.
But not only that, you could apply for the visa, pay the money, and they can deny the visa,
Deny
but
the
you don't
visa.
get back the money. Trick. It is so wicked. That's
Yeah.
so wicked. People in Grenada, there's an embassy an American embassy in Grenada. How come they don't stamp visas there?
I don't know. I don't know what this embassy is like. I would say it's like when you go there, it's like you wonder who is there. Who is there? Who is inside this building? What is the purpose of this building? You know?
They know who's there. They know who's there. It's easy to tell a country that I'm sending the embassy this and this and this and this and that. These
Yeah.
people, hey, Lord, they're funny. They're very funny.
I tell you. No,
They're so funny.
the Prime Minister had played his, I must say, the Prime Minister of Grenada, Caricom Sumitt, did well. He has announced that the U.S. radar request is no longer considered by the government of Grenada. It was
I told you, I trust this guy.
He played his chess well. It was a chess that he played well.
He's a Libra.
Yeah.
He's a Libra, and a Libra does not move until you touch him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a scale, a balance. And guess what? His foreign minister is also Libra. So that's a good combination. Dixon Mitchell is a very smart man. Very, very smart. I love his style. You know what I mean? Because when everybody got excited and stuff, he was thinking. It is important to think before you move.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just don't go opening your mouth saying this and that before you think it out. Because Dixon Mitchell is a young man. So Dixon Mitchell was never dealing with a devil. So all this is new for him too. How you deal with a devil? What part of Satan you have to analyze? You feel me?
Yep.
And Dixon Mitchell not used to little mongrel like they call Marco Ruby. Dixon Mitchell not used to these dirty people.
Yes.
He's a fine man, you know. I love how he dealt with it. No fuss, no talk, just direct.
Yeah.
You know? Bam. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we wanted to hear more and more and more because, you know, we are not in his position. So we wanted to know everything, what's going on, you know, what decision you make. But he's a thinker.
Yeah.
He's a thinker. He did it right.
The foods are making people sick. Yeah, I mean, guys, you have to try and start eating local because these foods that we are importing is what making us sick in the Caribbean. These GMO foods, you know, with all kinds of, you know, all this tin stuff, and you need, lessen down on these
The Caribbean people should be ashamed, especially in Grenada, because Grenada has food. Grenada has real good organic food, healthy food. So how come you are not? You know why? Because everybody's busy on a cell phone, and a cell phone makes people nervous. There's something that comes out of the cell phone that makes you very nervous.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see the drivers in Grenada, how nervous they are? Cell phone.
Yeah.
It's affecting us, the phone.
True.
It's and then it starts to cripple your hands.
Yeah.
You understand? And I often wonder why people are getting so nervous. Always very nervous. And I couldn't imagine what it was. It's the phone. You know, so here also in Europe, you see mothers walking with their children, and the little kids, you know, they want to have attention from the mother, but the mother's on the phone.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know what I mean? And this is something that you have to work on. You cannot allow this machine here to control you. You know what I mean? People will
Yeah.
kill you for a phone. You know, stop speaking to you because of a phone.
Hmm.
I'm telling you. So we have to be more conscious than that, and we have to teach our children.
True.
We have to tell them because they do not know.
Hmm.
You know, certain things that you know you don't get into. We have to change our mindset. We said it the last time, but this colonial mindset that has been placed into us, we have to change it.
Change it. Yeah. Yep.
We must change it. No government is going to change it for us.
Yes.
We have to change the way we are thinking
Hmm.
and start putting putting your feet on the ground. Start thinking in a solid way, a futuristic way with your land, creating different kinds of cottage industries that you can live from.
Yeah.
You bring in tourists to my country, but then I will have to milk that. You feel me?
Yes.
Everything, just do everything. Make lemonade, sell it by the port. People thirsty. You understand what I mean? Do things to help yourself.
Well, we have
Then
50.
stop.
We have about 10 more minutes. Those of you who are watching, our viewers, you can call in if you want to make a contribution to tonight's topic of the day, and you can click the link in the comment section below. Yeah. So yeah, we really do need to, be more conscious about our health, especially in a time like this. In a time like this, we really do need to be more conscious about our health.
About everything. You know what I mean? Because we sit back and allow people to come and make money off of us.
Yeah.
We have to learn the secret of making money. Because you can create it. You can create it. So we have to be busy, but you see, the problem is, and also they push that alcohol on you. The alcohol kills the brain cells, so you cannot think.
Mm-hmm.
It leaves space open for the demon to enter. You understand? But this alcohol is on purpose. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just to show you something, experience I had. Sometimes I do keep alcohol in my house. And I think I just came in from London, and I had bought a couple bottles of cognac. So a friend of mine come, because I don't discriminate people. So I put the cognac on the table, and I realized that he's not going to leave my house until this cognac bottle is finished. And I'm thinking, this is not normal. So I changed the cognac glass to a balloon cognac glass, a big one, So I pour out a little, because in that glass you could only drink a little bit, I pour out a little bit, as I know how to use the glass. I thought he did. And he looked at me and says, what happened? Full up the glass. This is a big glass. So it just shows you that we have to watch ourselves with alcohol. It's a terrible thing. You know what I mean? Really, what I wanted to ask.
Indeed. Indeed. No, last thing I want to talk about.
Mm.
Besides, Kamala Bissessar talked about Venezuela threatening Trinidad and Ghana. Now, I understand Ghana's situation. This is a thing that has been going on for a while between Guyana and Venezuela. And she said that Caricom did not do anything about it. But I remember when Ralph Gonsalves did brought some kind of peace to the situation or calm to the situation. Ralph Gonsalves, the former Prime Minister of St. Vincent, went down to Venezuela and then he went and visited Ali in Guyana and he brought them to the negotiation table. So I don't understand why she's saying that, nobody did anything. And when it comes to the threats, in my personal belief, I think that the threats against Trinidad is because of the actions of her government in conspiring with Uncle Sam when it comes to the sovereignty of Venezuela. I don't. That's just my opinion. You know.
But but with Guyana, this has been going on between Venezuela and Guyana about the oil,
Yeah.
right? But suppose Venezuela is right that this oil actually belonged to them. Suppose they're right,
Hmm.
huh? Because for all these years that Guyana exists, how come they didn't know that?
Hmm.
Huh? How come they didn't know they had all this oil? So this oil, somebody, well, if I was a Venezuelan, I was sure enough say that that oil is mine.
No, we don't want. We don't
Oil
want.
is
To,
mine.
we don't want. We don't want bacchanal. We don't want bacchanal between our neighbors. We want a peaceful resolution. We
Trust me,
want.
if that oil was bordering Carriacou, you
Someone is
sure
saying
that Grenada
Kabla,
said that is
Kabla
we
was
oil.
someone is saying Kabla was forceful with Venezuela. I stand on my argument. Venezuela threatened Trinidad and Tobago because of her actions, okay, with Uncle Sam. All right. If anyone wants to challenge me on that, you can call in, you can click the link. But that's what my I stand on my argument about. Trump,
But you're right. You're absolutely right.
yeah,
You're correct in your thoughts because we are allowed to think independently.
yeah,
You understand? Because they throw stuff out there doesn't mean that we have to go along with them.
exactly.
You know?
Yep. So true, so
Don't
true.
mind her.
Well, I think
I
we
don't know what she did, but whatever this lady did, I think she tried to uh, destroy the unity within Caricom.
well,
But
I don't
what
think
you don't
in
understand
my
is that you
opinion,
cannot destroy the people.
I don't think she tried. They are Uncle Sam is using her very successfully to sow discord among CARICOM leaders. Very much so. And
But the thing,
as
you
you
only have
rightly,
a couple
as you
years.
rightly say, what we there is still hope because I don't think it's not the division is not about Caribbean people. We're not divided as a Caribbean people. We may
No,
have
we are not.
we may have our little bickering with each other, but when you touch one, when any external forces harass any one of us, we will come to each other's defense. You know, the division
Absolutely.
is among our Caribbean leaders that are the ones that have to get the act together. You know,
But as far as the people are concerned, Caribbean people are together.
we are together. Yep.
Caribbean people are together. Don't let them fool you. They would want you to believe, and they use her as an instrument,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to do the divide and rule, and get the people against each other and get this, you know, because when you go after a leader, you go after their country. Their country
Yeah.
people voted for that leader, so they will defend that leader. So that's how the divide and rule starts. But they must understand that CARICOM people are very intelligent people.
Yeah.
They are not going to play into that game because we love each other. Anytime you see a Caricom person anywhere in the world, there's a certain kind of look, a certain kind of vibration that you feel within each other.
True.
That is love. So you cannot come in between love.
Yep.
And that's the strongest thing, the strongest weapon. We love each other. So they cannot break that. Love is about God. So they cannot break that at all. They might break the leaders, but they will not break us.
True. So true. Well, guys,
Absolutely.
I think we covered what we wanted to cover here.
Okay.
We're going to close it off here. Thank you guys for listening. To my viewers, thank you so much. The comment section was active. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you.
my Empress. Thank you for always giving your perspective on issues. And we're going
Thank
to,
you.
hopefully, by God's will, we're going to be back here next week, Sunday. All right. So until
Okay.
then, bye bye.
Bye-bye.